Welcome back. You're watching The Front Row, and today we are discussing about making a career choice, even as the parents and the Form 4 leavers, I beg your pardon, across the country are grappling with what careers can we take up. And as we have this discussion, we are really glad that we are getting your feedback on our social media platforms at KTN News KE, and of course we shall be sampling some of your questions to our panel. But before we get to our panel, I'd like us to quickly run through an emerging area where universities are really continuing to invent. And one of them is Riara University is relying on training in multimedia journalism as its pedestal to being the premier and sought-after trainer in the field. With a state-of-the-art studio, a voice recording booth, a radio station, and well-equipped and fully functioning edit suites, the university has what it takes to produce hands-on and fully baked professional ready for the market. Shadrach Miti has more on that report.
Welcome to RUTV. I'm Grace Guti. Today marks yet another...
At Riara University, training in multimedia journalism is a mix of theory and practical. The state-of-the-art studio is a hallmark of hands-on and practical training for aspiring multimedia journalists. Ranging from studio technical operators and camera operators, the institution has a rich menu for training in multimedia journalism.
Our main goal as a multimedia journalism training studio is to facilitate the practical learning of our students in multimedia journalism. As a multimedia journalism training studio, we focus on various types of production, including broadcast production, audio production, documentary production, and music production.
3, 2, 1.
Start to doubt your destiny. You don't know what it holds. You feel alone.
And it is not just training. There is the nurturing of talent too. Music production and recording is taught and done here. Students get the opportunity to run their works under strict guidance and supervision of the university's studio technician.
Our journalism studio is a hub for creativity. We have talented students who excel in various aspects of multimedia production. We have students who are very good in radio production. We have others who are very good in the production of music, including the creation of beats using Logic Pro. We have students who excel in directing audiovisual productions. We have students who are very good in anchoring. So here it's a hub for creativity. Over the years, we have witnessed our students winning various awards, including 2018 Kalasha Awards. I will encourage anyone out there to join us here. Anyone who is interested in pursuing a career in multimedia journalism, this is the best place for you. Here we focus on excellence and innovation.
The multimedia journalism training at Riara University is packaged to meet and address the need of both existing and emerging market demands.
Right about now, introducing Dennis Brown Steady Rock. Ikicheza ndani ya RU Radio Show kama kawa inaitwa Roroa. Niite the first governor wa Ghetto Republic at Buju Dantan. Na kwa studios yuko peke yangu. Big man wasalimie.
Niaje watu wa power naitwa Brand Kavalaji aka Father Figure. Ukitaka kunipaka mafuta sana nite sauti screenshot ya iPhone.
Yes, leo ni date 18th May 2021 Brayo. Tunashukuru Mungu sana kwa kuona leo. Ushaona?
Si ati tuliamka asubuhi tukakanja sagod ka kitu.
Si ati venye tunafuatanga 10 commandments sana.
Si ati sini wazuri sana.
But it is because of the mercies of the Most High Jah, Rastafari.
Those aspiring to be radio hosts and presenters have the best chance of not only learning but also put their raw talents to test ahead of venturing into the outside world.
Yes, kakichie kwa tupata wapi kwa mtandao?
Nishaambia sisi si ma grandmothers but tunaweza tupata social media.
Ati?
The radio room is dedicated to the production of podcasts, radio magazines, voiceover, and live shows, live music shows. And then we have the music, we have the video editing suite. It's a dedicated Mac lab with Mac computers, which have various softwares, including the Final Cut Pro for video editing. we have the DaVinci Resolve, we have the entire Adobe media editing suite, and then we have the dual area with the control room and the audio booth.
And of course, there is the news gathering and editing.
This is indeed the best place to study multimedia journalism.
Tunawashukuru nyi wote kwa kuremain loyal kwa Roroa Show.
Tupatane kesho.
Same place.
Turoroe kama kawaida.
Kaboom.
Tumeenda.
Shadrach Miti, Kt News.
Quite interesting. I couldn't imagine. Madam Marion, are those students?
Yes, indeed, these are our students. Some of them are, in the 4th year of studies.
All right.
And we can see that they're doing a great job.
You can hardly tell. They're
Yes.
very mature, well-versed.
Yes.
Those are ready for the market.
They are ready. They're ready for the market.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear your thoughts around how universities have been innovating in terms of staying ahead of the pack when it comes to offering a variety of courses. I know, Riara, you're currently about to launch some very interesting aspect of education.
Yeah. So at Riara University, we offer a number of courses in business, in computing sciences, in international relations, in law, and in education, and in journalism, where I'm based, where I'm teaching. So we've tried to to find out what is happening in the market, what is happening in the industry, so that we don't just come up with courses, just for the sake of it, but we do our research and find out what does the industry need. So, for example, in the communication and multimedia journalism school, we launched our bachelor's program in 2017. And way before we launched this program, we had a lot of conversations with the industry, with journalists, with stakeholders, just to find out, what kind of a program will be relevant right now in the 21st century. And you find that at the moment, we are looking at a student, or we are looking at a media practitioner, who can be able to perform across the different platforms, because of the convergence. So we train our students, to be able to work across all these platforms of radio, TV, online journalism, and print. So we find that this program is quite robust,
Right.
And so that by the time a student is graduating, they have already been able to carve, a niche, in the market, where they would want to go into.
I know Professor Dhiambo would agree with me that as we expand in our knowledge economy as a country, communication is an integral part in terms of, even for those already in working environments. And talk to us about what drove the institution to set up this school in regards to meeting a need. At the same time, there's a big conversation around online blended classes. I'm sure many of the working class sometimes might not be able to make it to the actual campus, but there's room to still have e-learning.
Yeah, so like you have said, communication is key. Not just in the media, but even in the corporate world. And maybe something that, we tell our students that if they don't happen to get into the mainstream media, some of them can get into the corporate world, as public relations managers, into the advertising sector. So we try to to engage them and to see which areas they are, talented in, through a lot of mentorship, so that we can be able to guide them appropriately into the correct career path. Then you've also talked about the online and the blended classes.
Yes.
And way before COVID-19, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Robert Gateru, had put in place a system where we could be able to teach, through the blended mode. Little did we know that COVID was soon, going to
accelerate.
It was going to happen. So many of us had been trained on how to do the blended class. And here, when I talk about the blended classes, I'm talking where we do some face-to-face classes, but we also do the online classes. And of course, the whole of, from March last year, we had to go fully online. But because of the system that had been put in place and the training that we had been given, it became really easy, for us to be able to continue to, to teach our students. They've not lagged behind. They've been able to complete their studies. Some of them have been able to complete their studies in good time. Some of them will actually be graduating this coming July. And of course, multimedia journalism being a very practical, a very hands-on course, which we emphasize so much on at Riara University, because again, at the end of the day, we want them to be competent, when they get into the industry, we want them to be competent communicators. We want them to be competent journalists. So of course, it was a little bit challenging, but again, we had to innovate. We had to innovate and ask our students, what do you have? You have your smartphones. At the moment, we have mobile journalism. There's a lot that is going on, not in the studio like we are at the moment, but you find that there's a lot of content creation out there. So we had to find a way to be able to enable our students still to be able to get the hands-on skills, and they actually managed, through our guidance, they were able to come up with productions. And maybe as we saw in the feature that ran earlier, we've had our students compete in different competitions, including Kalasha Awards, and they have won awards, including in film production. We don't really teach film production, but with the skills that we are giving them in audio production, video production, you find that these students are able to think out of the box and come up with films that have been able to, to compete with those ones which are already in the industry, and they have been able to win awards.
All right. Yeah. Quite a lot of innovation around Riara. And Professor Diambo, talking about mentorship, it's one of the major conversations happening right now in regards to ensuring our children are taking the right path. And looking at your 11 children, some of them already in employment, others are still studying, and I know you've expressed interest in taking up a course in communication, and I'm sure Marion will be able to convince you after this to be their latest student on board. Yeah. But just talk to us about mentorship in brief, because we need to wrap this conversation up.
Thank you very much again. Meru University of Science and Technology, some of the emerging career before I get there, one of them is a BCJ, Bachelor of Communication and Journalism. The other one, which is really picking up, is Bachelor of Education in Technology. These are people you train to go and teach in TVETs. We don't have teachers.
All right.
The other one, which is coming up from the ICT, is the data science and data analytics. And so we have Bachelor of Science in data analytics and all the rest.
All right.
These are upcoming and very useful. Mentorship, like my students doing Bachelor of Communication and Journalism, we have linked ourselves with the Media Council of Kenya, and we insist that the students, they also have to talk with people like you and all the rest, so that they are mentored.
All right.
And
you have 30 seconds to go.
All our students in many universities, the courses they do, we bring guest lecturers, experts, really to mentor them and talk with them. And that's why they also go for intensive attachment. And the main thing is to get a cleaner like you now, the way you are conducting all these things, and you work with that person and see that. So mentorship, parents and dear students who are soon going to join colleges, please take it very seriously. If you work with the right person, like Paul worked with Timothy, at the end of it, Timothy became the best preacher of the word.
Thank you,
so it's always very
Professor.
important to have your Paul in your life.
All right. And Dr. Home, we are closing this conversation, and I'd like to get your parting shot in regards to, are we seeing an impact when it comes to people making sound career choices, and how do we further improve on this? You just have a minute. We have to wrap this up.
I'd like to say there's a lot of work to be done, but to the students, your career is your choice. I know we have parents who really would have loved to be doctors, to be nurses, to be teachers, but if you didn't have that opportunity, please don't push it down your children's throat. Allow them to be the best they can, regardless of the field they pick. To the students, COOPS is there to support you. We are running online programs. We had one today with over 1,000 students. We'll be running another one very soon, so keep watching our social media platform, where we will give you a lot more tips on how to choose your career. And when we open the systems next week, we will have our officers all over the country supporting you on this. Thank you very much.
All right. And last but not least, Madam Marion, you have the final say.
Yes, so I would like to, first of all, congratulate the students who just did their exams. Whether they got a grade A or they got a grade C, there's a career path for them. And we invite them at Riara University, where we will be able to mentor them appropriately in order for them to be able to, to get into the correct career where, they have passion in. Yes.
Excellent. Well, that's why we have to bring this conversation to a close. We've been having a discussion on making career choices, even as Form 4 leavers contemplate on their next move after KCSE. This has been Front Row. My name is Abi Agina. Let's keep engaging on our social media handles and keep it locked here on KT News for more updates.